Well, I think, it's interesting watching and working with couples. I had first wedding of the season yesterday, wonderful couple. And when I work with couples, a lot of time I'll make a comment, we've been together 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And I'll say to them, well, you folks have a script then already written, don't you? And they always look like, how did he know? Because we do. We get our scripts written. We know what our parts are with our arguments with our loved ones. And how do we sort of unstick that stuff? How do we sort of break it apart? Because so much of life is looking at life, and we think we've got it. We think we've got it all wrapped up with a bow, and we've got this judgment, and this judgment, and this judgment. And these judgments are all about what we quote unquote know about our partner. But we really know. We know exactly why they're doing things. We know all their motivations. We know it all. You can imagine, friends, how that's not a terribly wonderful place to be. Because what it does is it locks our partner into a prison of sorts. It locks our partner up. And they're in a place where they just can't get out anymore because we've locked them behind all our judgments, all our quote-unquote knowing about them. And the problem with this is, folks, is that when we lock people that way, it can create sort of these strange bedfellows. I was thinking just some words I was playing around with. It can create sort of this self-referential vindication. We're totally vindicated in all our judgments about others because we've got them locked up. They don't have a voice in this. And it also, over time, can create this sort of, and this is challenging, this pleasure of contempt, where it actually feels good to feel bad about another person. It actually feels good to feel bad about another person. And I think what we want to do is we want to break out of that. Like God is always asking us to this. He's always pulling us to this. He's always pulling us, ready, folks, for new forms of freedom. And just imagine, as we go to today's service, that you can just find a hair more freedom, just a little bit more freedom with your relationships and the blessings that's there. And when we just get too much into what we know, we miss what God is talking about. Look at it this way, folks. Like here, that first covenant is about everyone. And then this second quote is about, and it's within. This is from Luke 17. The kingdom of God does not arrive where you are looking for it, nor do they say, here it is or there it is. Behold, you have the kingdom of God within you. So we start with that idea that everyone is part of this. It's just always interesting where people will ask where can I find God? Like, where is God? Where is God? Where is God? Well, God's all over. We can't be outside of the presence of God. Can we be asleep to it? Yes. Are we often asleep to it? Yes. But that doesn't mean that the presence isn't always there. It's there for everyone. So we learn to unwrap the bandages around other people. We do that with ourselves. And I want to come back again to reiterate this. And none of this is easy. There's part of me that thinks, if we think it's easy, we probably aren't listening. We probably made it way too simple. You should look at that part where you're sure, like, you've probably got a list. Oh, yeah, Chuck, I can do that with these 9 people, but number 10, no way. Maybe that's our work, is to figure that piece out. Remember, it's not easy. Infinity wounds the finite, and we are called to live an alternative story. Infinity wounds the finite, and we are called to live an alternative story. If we're going to live this alternative story, folks, of course there's going to be pain. And of course it's going to be hard. Of course it's going to be challenging. And folks, with this, I think we have to remember again and again that sometimes with these really stuck relationships, maybe the best thing we can say is this: let's try again tomorrow. Let's try again tomorrow. I personally am not a big believer in the marriage advice. I hear it almost every wedding I do, which is don't ever go to bed mad. Like, good luck. But despite that, we can say, look, today's just not working. Let's try again tomorrow. As I said last week, quoting in Lamont, it's never the bottom of the ninth in the spiritual life. So it's no longer this lock about like, look, I'm going to lock you behind all my judgments. It's a lock that's now built not out of judgments and not out of knowledge, about what we're sure we know about other people. It's a lock that just says, I'm here. I love you. We've crossed a bridge. We're going to honor that. It's a very different kind of lock, a very different way of sort of working ourselves into the world. And it's where we might be able to find the stars that will lead us home again. The true north pieces of softness, of asking the question, what is love asking me to see here? What's possible here? And in this relationship, where can there be a fresh start?